2023. I call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Daney?
Here.
Gansey? Here. Gunstein?
Here.
Hopkins?
Here.
Report?
Here.
Sawansky? Here. President Wallace?
Here. We've requested Pastor Jim DePalma of Encounter Church Door Invocation this evening. Pastor, thanks for being here.
There he is.
May we all stand, please? Our most gracious God and Father, we thank you for another day of life. We thank you for all of our blessings that you bestow upon us. We pray for our mayor, trustees, village officials, our first responders, your hand of protection on them now and always. We pray, Lord, for continued unity in our community forevermore. We pray for our nation, our troops and families. Father, have your way in this meeting tonight, and may you be glorified. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, in the mighty name of our Lord Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brings us to our consent agenda this evening. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be enacted in one motion. No separate discussion on things on the consent agenda. That being said, any board member like to add or remove anything from the consent?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to add F2 and F3.
Anybody have any discussion on those two items?
Yes, I would like to have discussion on F2.
Okay, so F3 is okay with everybody? All right. That being said, I'll entertain a motion to amend the consent agenda this evening to include the board and committee minutes from June 20, 2023. The consent will also include bill list from July 4 and 18, 2023. The consent this evening will also include items under Building and Zoning A3, 4, and 5. The consent will also include item B1. The consent will also include items D1, 2. And the consent statement will also include item E1. The consent will be adding item F3 and also including items F4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Trustee Daney, second by Trustee Hopkins. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Gunstein?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Report?
Yes.
Sawansky?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Gansey?
Yes.
That motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to approve the amended consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Gunstein. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Hopkins?
Yes.
Report?
Yes.
Sawansky?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Gansey?
Yes.
Gunstein?
Yes.
That motion carries. Next up, we have our Treasurer's Report. Mr. Treasurer?
Thank you. Included in your packet for this evening is the Treasurer's Report for the month of May. Also included is the sales tax report. We received $255,956 this month. That was for February's activity. It was up $35,000 from last year, or about 16%. For motor fuel tax, we received $148,455. That was up about $9,700 from the prior year. As far as the local government distributive fund, or the local share of state income tax, we received $988,000 in May. That's at the current rate of 6.16% of income tax. At 10%, that would have been $1.6 million. So that rate will go up to 6.47% July 1. That's about a 5% increase. That's it for the Treasurer's Report, unless there's any questions.
Do you have any questions, Treasurer?
No.
Hearing none, we'll move along to the President's Report, which I imagine most of you folks are here for. Let's see, let me bring this over with me. And my glasses. First off, on the President's Report, we have DARE Officer of the Year Award to hand out. I believe she's already received the trophy, but we stole it back, and now we're going to give it to her again. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I'd like to congratulate Officer Victoria Anderson on being selected as this year's DARE Officer of the Year. She was presented with her award at the Illinois Juvenile Officer Association DARE Conference on Friday, June 16, 2023, in East Peoria. In order to be selected for this prestigious award, the nominee must be a DARE officer who not only had a positive impact on the DARE program, but also someone who was an exemplary role model that made a difference in their community, and we all know that Vicky has certainly done that. Officer Anderson worked tirelessly as a DARE officer. Many of us on the board have witnessed that personally, to promote positive relationships between law enforcement and the community. Her creative spirit led her to develop additional opportunities to engage and connect with her DARE students. And if you ever saw any of her DARE students, they love her to death. All of them have that I've been to. Officer Anderson led a campaign to encourage her DARE students to make good choices by thinking of others who might be going through difficult situations. She created a pop can tab collection contest to benefit Ronald McDonald House charities of Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. Each year, Officer Anderson encouraged her classes to compete with each other to see who could collect the most pop can tabs. The winning class from each school received a pizza party with Officer Anderson, funded by on her own accord. Throughout the years, this contest has collected thousands of pounds of pop can tabs used to fund the Ronald McDonald House charities of Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana's essential programs. Besides connecting with her DARE students in the classroom, Officer Anderson also took the initiative to show her appreciation of them by attending their band and orchestra concerts, soccer games, theatrical performances, and recitals during her regularly scheduled time off. I don't know how you came up with that much time, Vicky. Once again, congratulations on being selected as this year's DARE Officer of the Year. Thank you so much, Vicky, for your outstanding service. I know many of us have been to the DARE graduations, and Tracy and Vicky have done a fantastic job. Next up, we have a proclamation recognizing Tammy Schulz for her 30 years of service to the village of Bartlett. She started with the village, I think, when she was 5, right, Tammy? Right. Where is she? Yeah. Whereas on June 10, 2023, Sergeant Tammy Schulz celebrated her 30th anniversary with the village of Bartlett. And whereas Tammy was sworn in as a Bartlett police officer on June 10, 1993, and then promoted to rank of sergeant on September 11, 2020. And whereas Tammy obtained her bachelor's degree in criminal justice management in 2006, and then her master's in organizational leadership in 2008. And whereas Tammy served in many different capacities within the police department during her 30 years of dedicated service, including a patrol officer, a detective, a school resource officer, evidence technician, crime prevention officer, and DARE instructor. And whereas Tammy was instrumental in creating several of the police department's past and current community-based policing programs, including the DARE car washes, stranger danger puppet shows, and DARE family fishing derby. And whereas the village and its stakeholders are eternally grateful for Tammy's service, her passion, and her commitment to fulfill the police department's mission to serve with care and protect with confidence. And now, therefore, I, Kevin Wallace, President of the Village of Bartlett, Cook, DuPage, and Kane Counties, Illinois, hereby proclaim a happy anniversary of 30 years to Sergeant Tammy Schulz, dated this 18th day of July, 2023. think I want to read this last one. Where's Officer Durbin at? Finally, President's report for proclamations recognizing Deputy Chief Jim Durbin upon his retirement from the Village of Bartlett. Whereas Jim Durbin was sworn in as Bartlett Police Officer on June 22nd, 1998. Whereas Jim was promoted to the rank of Sergeant on March 25th, 2005, and appointed to the rank of Deputy Chief on June 18th, 2019. Whereas during his 25 years of dedicated service, Jim served in many different capacities for the police department, including patrol officer, crime prevention officer, dare instructor, and roundtable team member. And whereas Jim served as the directed patrol team sergeant, emergency management team coordinator, recruitment team supervisor, and training committee coordinator, which he played a critical role in the training, supervision, and mentoring of our police officers. And whereas Jim has contributed in immeasurable ways to the safety and wellness of our residents and the police officers over the years by serving as an emergency vehicle operator's course instructor and a child safety seat technician. Whereas Jim planned and organized the Village of Bartlett's first place National Night Out celebration in 2002, and whereas Jim successfully completed the intensive leadership and management education programs at the Northwestern School of Police, Staff, and Command, and the Police Executive Research Forum's Senior Management Institute for Police. And whereas the Village is forever proud of Jim's many accolades and awards during his career, which includes the 2019 Leadership Award, three staff citations, and 3 Employee of the Month awards. Now, therefore, I, Kevin Wallace, President of the Village of Bartlett, Cook, DuPage, and Kane counties, offer our many, many thanks to Deputy Chief Jim Durbin for his service to the Bartlett community. His unwavering career commitment to the police department and the Village of Bartlett have positively impacted so many lives, and we wholeheartedly wish him a retirement filled with good health and much happiness, dated this 18th day of July, 2023.
Just real quick, I just want to say how unbelievably proud I am to have served in such a great community, been a part of the community, all the relationships, past and present, board members, village staff, and especially the police department. 5 years. A special thanks to my wife. I met my wife at the farmer's market when I was working in the police department. And we had our first date after I got off duty at 11 p.m. on July 4th, working the fireworks detail. 4th of July celebration, and we had our first date that evening, probably around midnight. So, our connection, Mark goes with my wife.
And I have requested Trustee Sawansky read the National Night Out Proclamation.
Whereas the National Association of Town Watch, NATW, is sponsoring a unique nationwide crime, drug, and violence prevention program on Tuesday, August 1st, 2023, entitled National Night Out, and whereas the 40th Annual National Night Out provides an exceptional opportunity for Bartlett, Illinois, to join forces with thousands of other communities across the country in promoting cooperative police community crime prevention efforts, and whereas the Village of Bartlett plays a vital role in assisting Bartlett Police Department through joint crime, drug, and violence prevention efforts in Bartlett, Illinois, and has supported the National Night Out locally since 1993. And whereas it is essential all citizens of the Village of Bartlett be aware of the importance of crime prevention programs and understand the impact of their participation can have on reducing crime, drugs, and violence in Bartlett, Illinois. And whereas police community partnerships, neighborhood safety, awareness, and cooperation are essential themes of the National Night Out program, now therefore I, Village President Kevin Wallace, do hereby call upon all citizens of Bartlett, Illinois to join the Village of Bartlett and the National Association of Town Watch in supporting the 40th Annual National Night Out on Tuesday, August 1st, 2023. Further, let it be resolved that I, Village President Kevin Wallace, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, August 1st, 2023 as National Night Out in Bartlett, Illinois.
Yay!
Chief, take it away.
On behalf of the police department, I just want to thank you for your continued support of National Night Out. This is going to be our 30th year of doing National Night Out here in the Village of Bartlett. Just absolutely incredible, and we've all seen the benefits of doing National Night Out. And one of my favorite things actually is tonight with our National Night Out Star Award recipients. So each year during National Night Out, the Village of Bartlett honors those citizens, businesses, and civic groups who go above and beyond within our community. Every year, these awards remind us what a difference one individual or organization can make in this community. And we need all the help we can get. We've been so blessed with everyone's support. We get tons of cards and food and accolades and waves, and, it's not just from the residents, it's from the board, it's from the village staff, it's from all the organizations and the businesses such as Jewel Osco, who are here tonight. And it just makes this village as special as it is because of all of you and the individuals who are just a part of the Village of Bartlett. So tonight, there are several deserving National Award recipients, including 2 Citizen Star Award category winners and 1 business in the Business Star Award category. Unfortunately for the Community Spirit Award, the Boy Scout troop couldn't be here today. They're doing what the Boy Scouts do best, and they're camping. But if you remember them up at the 4th of July Fest, they did a really nice job of just cleaning up after the 5-day festivity, and we are going to be recognizing them actually next month. But to start off, I just want to start off with the 2 Citizen Star Awards. So if you're not familiar what our Citizen Star Awards are, the police department nominates individuals who have gone above and beyond what is expected of citizens here in the Village of Bartlett. The award recognizes citizen involvement in protecting the community, encourages neighborhood watch participation, and fosters positive relationships between the police department and the community. And we have 2 fantastic Citizen Award recipients here tonight. So first off, I'd like to introduce you to Resident Rocco Chicala. I apologize for his absence, but I think it's just equally important just to share just what made it special. So he was nominated for the Citizen Star Award for his assistance in helping us with a retail theft. Back in January, he observed 2 suspects committing a shoplifting offense at one of our Bartlett businesses. What he did is he contacted 911, provided dispatch with a detailed description of the suspects as well as their vehicles, and then afterwards he followed the suspect's vehicle to a nearby distance where we were able to apprehend those individuals and take them into custody. And that's what I mentioned, is we can't do this job alone, and our crime prevention team has done a really nice job. And if you remember, our National Night Out is a combination of a lot of different events. We started off in June with the dog washer event, and that was a lot of fun, just seeing everybody and their pet dogs. And then we had a tremendous turnout at our caution truck event to see all the different family members with these different businesses and first responders and stuff like that. And then next week will be our big National Night Out with the Family Fun Night, pool party. We have 15 block parties maybe that we're going to be doing.
Hey. Yeah.
Also, too, then we have the golf event, which I heard was a nice successful event similar at Bartlett Hills. And then with our big National Night Out, as I mentioned, it's our 30th year, which is absolutely incredible. We're so blessed to be part of it. Next up, I'd like to invite up Paul Martin.
Jeff, can you turn your mic on?
Is his mic on?
Anthony, would you like to come up, please? Anthony?
Hey, Chief, is your mic on?
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's better.
So Paul was nominated by one of our officers. So last fall, our officer was investigating a public indecency incident that occurred at a local park. And this investigation was a high priority. However, we didn't really have enough initial leads to be able to locate the offender. However, with Paul's help, while conducting a follow-up investigation, he offered to provide us critical security camera footage, which led us to the identification and the arrest of the offender who committed this heinous act within one of our local parks. And I just want to thank you for helping to keep our community safe. And then lastly, I'd like to invite Rich up from the Bartlett Jewel Osco. I've known Rich for a very long time, back in my crime prevention days and helping out. And, you know, Rich is just like many of our business owners, and several of them here in the audience, just a staple in this community. Anything that he could do as the store manager to support our Bartlett community, he was always there for. If you remember a few years ago when we did our first COVID-19 vaccination event, Rich was very generous and donated a lot of food and drink supplies actually to the event. And he does the same thing too, not only within the community, but the police department. One of the things that's just very touching to all of our hearts, part of the 4th of July Festival, is the Special Needs Carnival. And that is because of individuals and organizations such as Rich and Jewel Osco. We were very proud. I think we had about 350 families come through to the Special Needs Carnival. Everything was free and paid for, including Rich this year donated all the chips to go along with the hot dogs that were donated by the Dog Father, and then the water that was donated by the Senate Corporation. Also, too, Rich has helped us out with our medical training. I'm sure a lot of you see our stuff on social media, and Tracy is a big part of our medical training that we do Stop the Bleed training, and he actually donated some of the items that were needed to help our officers control that bleed. And then also, too, for all of our National Night events, you know, anything that we ask of Jewel Osco through Rich and his team, you know, they provide it to us, such as a bag of ice and other stuff. As I mentioned, that's what just makes Bartlett just so special, is not only because of the individuals who reside here and want this village to do well, but businesses and organizations such as Jewel Osco and with the leadership of Rich and his team. So once again, you know, together, it just shows you that we are making our community safer and a more caring place to live through the actions of all these individuals, and I couldn't be more proud of you. So Rich, with that, I am proud to present you and Jewel Osco with the Business Star Award. Once again, congratulations to all the National Night Out Star Award recipients. And once again, thank you for all the continued support, Mayor and the board, for National Night Out, as well as the village staff. It truly is a team effort, you know, not only through the police department, but throughout the village board, village staff, and all the different departments. And we look forward to seeing you at the rest of the National Night Out lead-in events, and then our big 30th National Night Out picnic in the park. Once again, big shout out to Vicky, Tracy, and Michael, and Greg for putting this year's National Night Out together. Just really proud of all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Anybody have any questions for staff?
I have two things. One, I want to thank Bartlett Hills for the family event. My daughter now wants to take golf lessons, and it was a lot of fun, so thank you for that. And second, do we have any updates on Aldi?
So Aldi is finalizing their letters of credit, and we're waiting on their list of contractors. That is the only thing holding them up from getting their building permit.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Dinges probably knows the answer to this, but is 59 and West Bartlett, are they on schedule, behind schedule, or can you give us a little bit of an update on the construction out there at that intersection?
Sure. The last I've heard, they were a little bit behind schedule due to some utility conflicts, but it sounds like those have, for the most part, been resolved, so the contractor can continue. Plan is to get the bulk of the lane improvements done before winter, then they'll have spring, and they're saying probably in the summer where they'll finalize like our street lights, landscape restoration, all that stuff. But they're hoping to get a good portion of the lane improvements done before winter.
Can we keep on them about the lane striping? I know we had a lot of issues at Stearns in 59. I was wondering if we can just be proactive and make sure those are marked.
Definitely.
All this time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anyone else?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I would like to congratulate the police department on the positive comments that came from the CALIA portal. You're welcome. I would also like to ask staff about, is there any progress on Site E?
The last time I spoke to the property owner, he was hoping to resubmit his plans to start working on the foundation this fall.
Okay. And do we have any progress on the old Sonic, the Casey's Thornton?
They said they're still planning on moving forward. There were some items they were working on with DuPage County Highway Department with their access on Stearns Road. So they're on hold until they can figure out everything with DuPage County. Then they'll be resubmitting their plans to the village because it's been a while since we've done the review.
I just wanted to congratulate the 4th of July committee on a really well done 4th of July fest this year. All the volunteers, the police department, the fire department, Hanover Park, Hanover Township Emergency Services, and all the volunteers, including the Lions Club and the Boy Scouts, came together despite the weather that was iffy. We had a great parade, and I think a 5-day event that was pretty well executed and a great enjoyment for our community. So I want to thank you guys all for that. So.
Absolutely. I had many comments about how much safer they felt because of the additional police presence there, and just people that I didn't even know, and they just commented on the fact that they felt safe being out in large numbers just because we had that additional presence. So thank you, Chief. You did a really good job.
Especially for Kyle, Greg, and Washington, you did a really nice job. Planning the work is nice, and watching the public workers again.
I know everybody likes 5 days, but I hope it doesn't happen again for a while.
We were all tired.
That was a long time.
You know,
Especially for our police department.
one of the nice additions was the walkway between the tent and the field. I don't know if the 4th of July committee did that, or Public Works, or whoever did that, but they actually had a striped, as long as they could have it, probably about a 6-foot walkway from the edge of the tent to where the patrons would sit to watch the concert. And I thought that was just a nice addition.
Yeah. I had one more item. The sidewalk out in front of Moore Brewing, after long discussions and many discussions, I actually have to say it looks pretty nice and definitely enhances our downtown. So well done on that.
I have a few people I'd like to recognize. We only had one meeting this month, so I'll start with the commissioners first. For their anniversaries, we have George Koziel, who serves on the Planning and Zoning Committee. He has 20 years. Congratulations, George. John Sias, Police and Pension. He has 6 years, along with Dan Palmer, also on Police and Pension. Congratulations, guys. And then for anniversaries, I'd like to recognize Commander Kyle Robinski. He has 18 years of service with the village. And Paul Galvin, our assistant pro. Can't believe he's been here 17 years. He had 17 years of service. So congratulations to those. And then I'd just like to recognize a couple people for the birthday. We have Chief Percalis. His birthday was the 6th Congratulations, Chief. And my favorite trustee up here, no, you're not, but we have,
Thought I was getting away with this one without being
what?
recognized, but
Dan Gunstein, his birthday was, trustee Gunstein's birthday was the 10th July.
Happy
That's all-
birthday, Dan.
That's all I have.
All right.
One more thing, we gotta recognize Phil, he's got half of Hollywood coming to Bartlett Hills now.
Yeah?
So we had, Jimmy Garoppolo from, the Las Vegas Raiders was out there, quarterback. And then, movie star from Chicago, Fire, was there a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
So we're attracting, the Hollywood types now.
That's awesome.
Well
Good
done.
deal. Anything else? All right, we'll move on to the town hall portion of the meeting. This is a part of the meeting where anyone who'd like to address the board, kindly step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and try to keep your comments to 3 minutes. And I believe, Lorna will read the first names.
Dwayne Burris.
My name's Dwayne Burris. I live at 5N151 Gerber Road. I've lived there and I've been a Bartlett resident for 39 years. My property is adjacent to the U46 property and directly connects to it. I do not anticipate selling or developing my property at any time in the near future. I have no objections to the proposed U46 expansion or the project. They've been a good neighbor, and I'm sure they'll continue to be. My objection is, and has been for the last 23 years, the Fair Oaks Gerber Road alignment. Not only does the proposed alignment take an acre of my property and 2 of my outbuildings, but a 4-way stop intersection at the school entrance would create a nightmare backup of traffic in my backyard. Routing all the north-south Fair Oaks, north-south Gerber Road traffic along the school bus entry and exit would be a disaster. Studies were conducted in the year 2000 and shown this alignment will not help the flow of traffic through Bartlett. If I should or have to sell the property, this proposed road would be a huge detriment to the value and the future development. In the year 2000, when the proposed alignment was changed and moved onto my property due to a lawsuit, the village paid a consultant and a land development company to show the impact of the Fair Oaks Road extension. The number of lots I would get without the road was 9. The number of lots with the road would be 6. That would make a huge difference to a developer for the future. As I stated, I've lived there, my residence, for 39 years. Buses, trucks, cars have used the Gerber Road without any backups, accidents, or problems coming from Army Trail or Schick Road that I can ever remember. So I'm definitely opposed to the Fair Oaks Road alignment, realignment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Patty Battaglia.
Good evening. Bear with me, it's only the 3rd time I've spoken public, so I'm a little nervous. With that being said, my name is Patty Battaglia. I reside at 1220 Churchill Road in Bartlett, but I'm here on behalf of Christopher Fraser, who resides at 253 Norway Drive in the reserves of Bartlett. I also am opposed to the Fair Oaks thoroughfare going through the subdivision of Bartlett's of Reserve. First of all, Gerber Road exists for that reason. It goes from Schick Road to Army Trail Road. On the blueprints from the June 1st village board meeting, it did not include the road, and in that meeting, it was stated it would never be done. It's also in the minutes, it was discussed in a 2014 board meeting, and in the minutes, it was stated it was a bad idea. I agree, it's a bad idea. The drawings show that the road is shown to crisscross over a bus lane at the Hawk Hollow School. It's a huge safety concern for children. Gerber Road already exists. I can't repeat that enough. It would also probably include a hefty price tag, because you're talking about putting a light where there's a drainage area. Something might have to be done with that drainage area. It might cost a lot more money. Of course, the biggest concern is the safety of children. There are currently existing paths in that subdivision of Bartlett of Reserves. Children can walk through there to get there. There's no need to drive. Possibly there's a walk across Army Trail Road so people can cross there. Right there, use a crosswalk, walk across, use the paths in the Bartlett of Reserve. You're also taking away, I didn't catch the gentleman's name, I think his first name was Dwayne, you're taking away a resident's land and not letting him rebuild his business, the bad business practice. I've lived in Bartlett for 33 years and I don't believe that this board would do that. Lastly, I'm not here out of anger. I'm here, excuse me if I get upset, because I have grandchildren that live in that subdivision, and they are currently safe, very safe. I want to keep them safe. I want to see them grow up. I hope I live long enough to see that happen. Thank you for listening to my concern and for the opposal of this through road, through Bartlett Reserves. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty.
George Cozio?
Good evening. My name is George Cozio. I reside at 654 Hazelnut Court, Bartlett. I'm here tonight to voice opinions on the Hawk Hollow project. I'm concerned that the taking of the right-of-way of the road through the property to transfer it to U-46 is Bartlett giving up a lot, and I'm not sure what the return from the district is. Second, I'm very concerned because the original plan that the U-46 is presenting is fine from their point of view, but I believe in the future is going to cause problems outside of the immediate area. And what I mean by that is additional traffic on Gerber and Schick, and both roads have traffic problems today. And the plan that's being offered does nothing to provide, let's say, a traffic signal anywhere at Gerber and Schick or Gerber and Army Trail. So what happens is that because of what U-46 is going to do, a problem may be passed along back to Bartlett. And who's going to pay for it? Bartlett. I'm strongly against that. I think that the plan should have included traffic and the safe control of traffic on these roads in the area. I'm very concerned about Gerber and Schick. I think a stoplight would be appropriate there. And Gerber and Army Trail, it's a very narrow road, and it's difficult for buses and cars to make the turns in and out of that street, either onto Gerber or onto Army Trail. So I hope that the trustees look at this and vote a no to U-46. Thank you.
Thank you, George. So the slips you got. Does anyone else like to make any comments to the board at this time? Come on up. Kindly state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Scott Housen. My address is 5N111 Gerber Road in Bartlett. And I definitely oppose pushing that road through. I'm actually right next door to Dwayne here, and they're talking about taking a corner of my property. And I can't see a major thoroughfare 10 feet above my land with cars whipping by there. I don't think it makes any sense. I think you're making a pretzel out of this traffic situation. And when I bought my house, and I haven't been there for almost 40 years, but I've been there for almost 20 years, there was no easement for this. If there was a road going through there, I wouldn't have bought this house. So you're going to take part of my land to do something I don't agree with, and I don't agree with that. That's it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else like to address the board at this time? John?
I am John Mialso. I live at 1651 Colfax Court in Bartlett. I'm here to, the main thing about Hawk Hollow is safety. Right now, it's not safe. The plans are not safe. We have to be concerned about safety first. That's all I'd like to say. Safety first.
Thank you, John. Anyone else like to address the board at this time?
My name is Rhonda Curtis. I live at 360 South Oak Avenue in Bartlett. My name is Kimberly Wentz. I live at 281 South Oak in Bartlett. Kim and I are here on behalf of the residents of South Oak Avenue, and we wanted to address some issues. While we're happy to see that the village, specifically downtown Bartlett, is growing and thriving, we do have some issues that we'd like to bring to your attention. Since the opening of some new businesses, it has impacted South Oak Avenue in several ways that have raised concerns for us. We're witnessing firsthand the negative effects of these businesses being in close proximity. Though there's free public parking and plenty of signs stating it at the Metro lots, downtown Bartlett, there's nothing deterring them from parking on South Oak Avenue. It is unrestricted residential parking. Customers and employees are speeding down our street, pulling into our driveways to turn around. Kim actually witnessed a car pull into her driveway when her children were at the mailbox getting the mail. And cars have been parked overhanging plenty of our driveways. It's not only a concern and an inconvenience for the homeowners, but it possesses significant safety risks. It's crucial that we prioritize the safety and well-being on South Oak Avenue, including our residents, especially our children playing outside, pedestrians, and our Bartlett Police Department, who crosses South Oak Avenue from their private lot at an unmarked crosswalk. As residents, we watch for our children. We slow down, especially when we're at the crosswalk for the police department. It is not a very well-lit street to begin with, and the non-local traffic that is coming through has no respect for the neighborhood, our children, nor do they have any regard for the speed limits. Another impact is the increased traffic and congestion. Besides our local residents and police presence, there is now the added non-local vehicles, large delivery trucks, and many of us have been stopped at the end of our block because of delivery trucks being double parked, cars that are blocking the intersection. And South Oak Avenue is the main entrance for our police department, which is a big concern because it is high traffic and the congestion is starting to hinder the routes for emergency vehicles. We are here not being angry. We just want to look towards the future because we want the downtown area to thrive, to be bigger and better, and it's nothing against the businesses that are opening, but we want to protect the safety of our block, our children, our police officers. So we just want to take into consideration options of permit parking only on our block and no through traffic. So that way we can make sure that people are safe. And that included, as we walked down for this meeting, there's someone in this room that almost got hit head on as cars were turning around and speeding back to go get a parking spot. So I hope that you guys take it into consideration. Kim and I are kind of representing our block. We do have a petition that was signed by almost every single resident on our block, just to show and not overwhelm the board meeting, but to show the support of our entire street. So thank you very much.
Rhonda, can we get a copy of that?
I have copies.
Okay.
While she's passing that on, I'd like to just talk about that situation. We were over there, and when we came out and talked about the delivery truck, parking, there was a car parked, and the semi actually was parked in the street, blocking the traffic, which would have been northbound, and the nose of the cabinet of the semi was pulled into the in front of the parked car that was there. I was wondering if In fact, we commented about that. I wonder if we could make that one section. I don't know how you can address the entire block. I don't know, but immediately right in front of Moore, I wonder if we can make that, no parking from that one alley section to the, West Bartlett Road.
Trustee Danny, I'm really glad that you brought that up. That is actually some of the discussions I've already had with the Public Works Director, Dan Dinges, and Village Administrator Schumacher. So per state statute, you're not supposed to park within, I believe it's 20 or 30 feet from the stop sign. So we identified that early on. So actually, Public Works is going to be putting up signs and creating an ordinance to prevent people from being in that area, which would resolve the delivery truck issue.
Yeah.
And then in regard to us pulling out of our lot heading northbound, we also identified there is a blind spot there, and we asked to work with Public Works to put together the ordinance and signage to prevent people from our police marked squad parking lot north in between that alleyway to prevent that blind spot issue. So we identified that early on, and those are the steps that we are taking to rectify the specific issues that you just brought up tonight.
Well, I knew that, everyone was very excited about more coming to the village, and I kind of foresaw that we'd have to tweak it a little bit. So, and as far as the remaining portion of the Avenues Oak, I don't know what can be done there, but I know that we can at least eliminate that situation of the northbound or southbound traffic with the semi being there.
We have parking lots, the parking lot south of Banbury scheduled for construction.
Mm-hmm.
Contractor's schedule on that is to start after Labor Day and be done in October. So that'll help. I believe it's 27 parking spaces will be added south of Banbury. And as one of the residents mentioned, we've put all kinds of signage up there that mentioning that Metro parking is free after 11. So we've got plenty of signs up for that as well.
Are we working on a more of a permanent signage for the Metro lot parking so that it doesn't look like it's just like a banner, something that's, affixed to light poles or the building or something of that nature?
We have some permanent ones, like I think there's one permanent one right at northbound, like right at Oak and Railroad. So if you're going north on Oak, it's sitting right there. We plan on putting more on the parking stalls, say west of the Depot Museum, but we're probably going to have to use a portion of that when we do the Banbury parking lot. We're going to have to take that out of commission while we do the construction, so we're probably going to temporarily put short-term parking along that stretch during the construction. So I didn't want to put signs up and then we're going to basically bury them again during the construction. But after construction, we would put more permanent on some of the stalls.
How many stalls are there going to be in the new lot?
I think it's 27.
And that'll be completed when?
October.
In October.
Thank you.
Is this mostly, I know it's difficult to determine, do you think it's mostly people from out of the area who don't know all of the different lots that we have with Metro or on the north side of the tracks?
Probably. I'm sure you're getting a lot of customers from outside of Bartlett that aren't familiar with the downtown area. So we can continue to put more signage as far as parking north of the tracks.
There's also, sorry, Dan, there's also 6 sandwich boards scattered throughout the lots, and we can certainly look at rotating those as more continues to do business.
Is there a sign down Oak right now that tells you that? Like if you were turning left onto Oak to go south?
I believe there's a banner on a barricade right at the southwest corner, right at the Banbury parking lot.
Oh, okay.
So if you're turning south onto Oak, heading, westbound on Railroad to head south, there's one right on the corner there. Then Banbury Fair has signage in there saying Metro parking.
think it's a good idea to come up with a solution for
Yeah.
Oak.
We'll be working on it, ladies, as much as we can. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Roseanne, and I'm also on Oak Avenue on South Oak. And I've been a resident here for, John and I, for 29 years. And like everybody else, we're happy that more is here. I have never once had to go to a town hall ever felt the urge, because Bartlett is such a great community. You guys are great listeners. But I felt compelled tonight because I've seen things I have not seen in 29 years of living at my residence. And they had mentioned about the traffic. I literally have never seen the traffic that I've seen now. There are cars all the way down the street from the beginning to the end, and also on the other side. And all day long, once more open, cars will go in our driveway, back out, do U-turn, like on a regular basis. Our mailboxes are blocked. We had a friend come over on just last week, and there was no room for them to park in front of our house. It was already taken, and it was a good thing there was a little bit of a space in our driveway. But just from a practical consideration as a homeowner, that just doesn't seem right, that we're homeowners and we have to now be in competition for parking in front of our own home. And finally, the danger, which really is the most important thing. I can't tell you how many times there's been some near misses, including with my husband. We're backing out so slowly, but because of all the cars, we don't see well. And then people are going down the street very quickly, including early. This is not just yeah. And then and I do have a suggestion, because I don't want this just to be us complaining. Is there a possibility, like what Kim was saying, and either permits, if not residential permits, that's definitely an option. But it seems like the people that are coming on our street either don't want to cross the street. They just don't want to bother, which to me, that's not a good enough excuse, because if you go to St. Charles or other communities, you have to park away from your venue. You can't just be right there. So they don't know it, or they just feel that for some reason they would just rather park on our street. So there has to be some incentive other than, please, don't do it. There's got to be some incentive to stop, or else this is just going to keep going.
And they're going to go towards the least, the best spot to go. Can we get your full name and address?
Sure. It's Roseanne Porter, and my address is 271 South Oak Avenue. I'm right next to you guys.
We do hear you all about Oak Avenue. I've heard it many times before this board meeting, and I think all of us probably have. It's going to be a situation where we're going to try to keep working on it. So, Chief, maybe at our next meeting, we can come up with some kind of action plan that we're taking to make sure that these residents aren't having people parking in the front of their house all night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nadia Atia. I live at 260 Norway Drive, and this is my husband, Amir. We have been part of the community for 25 years. I have been a U46 teacher. I have been on CAC for many years. I'm very involved in U46, but I'm also live right behind Hawk Hollow. And I do feel that the new streets is a bad idea for Bartlett. My children grew up going to Hawk Hollow. Now I have one at Eastview, one at Bartlett. So I understand why we need a middle school in Bartlett. Eastview, this is our fifth kid. We've had kids in our family there for the past 10 years. So we get it. But I think the road is a very bad idea. My children have always walked to school, rode their bikes to school. A lot of the kids in the community do the same, and that you're going to take away with the road. Parents are not going to feel safe with buses, cars, whatever goes down that road as fast as it can, and having children go on their bikes. I mean, it's just not going to happen, and you're taking that away from the kids, and especially middle school kids. A lot of those kids at Eastview, it's kind of hard for them to get there. Hawk Hollow, there's a lot of good neighborhoods around that area that kids can just get to school on their own, and that's something you're going to take away from them. There's also a lot of, as she spoke, there's a lot of little kids in our neighborhood, and they play outside all the time. You have kids, little kids that are playing outside on their bikes, and if you have that, I don't feel like I think you're taking that away from those kids as well.
Thank you.
I was just going to say, I'll keep it short, kind of listening to the chief and everybody else. I've been in Bartlett 25 years. It's the people that make it, all my neighbors, everything else. as a community, we're asking, please don't put this there. We don't feel safe. Nobody feels safe. If you guys have ever driven through Eastview, it's a nightmare. Imagine a neighborhood in the middle of getting to Eastview. Forget about it. I mean, no one's going to want to live there. That's ridiculous. So I think I'm just asking, as the chief said, is the people. Please just listen to the people that live here and do the right thing. That's it.
Thank you for being here.
Hi, Rich Bosch from 1540 Southgate Road in Woodland Hills. I just have a couple of things to address as a resident. I think we're forgetting safety is very important. Working with the village for 26 years as a police officer, the police department takes their safety very serious. They work with the school districts on traffic plans to provide safety. I've seen it with the traffic issues over at Sycamore Trails. They stepped up and we worked together to make those plans safe for Sycamore Trails. We seem to forget how my kids went to U46. They had to get up extra early to go all the way to Kenyon Woods, South Elgin, when a school in the southeast portion of the village would be very beneficial for the Woodland Hills and all the residents around there. Also that U46 has reached out to community for the community involvement. They have CAC involved. They have reached out for the community to have input on this. They're not just doing this alone. They're doing it with the community involved, including residents of Bartlett, to repair a lot of schools that are outdated. So I think we also need to take into consideration of how much the U46 has put into place and has the community involvement for the safety and the education of the kids. So thank you.
Thanks, Rich. Hey, Coach.
Hey, Coach, how are you? Hi, I'm Joe McLeod. I live at 276 Norway Court in Bartlett. I'm also the president of the Enclave Neighborhood Association, which is the association that represents the Norway Drive community of 17 homes. And I just wanted to come up here. I didn't prepare remarks, but when I learned today of the potential discussion the board is having about putting the Fair Oaks through in again, I came on June 1st and attended the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, and at that time, the committee recommended the proposal for U46's plan without putting a road in, which I was very encouraged to see. And I listened to everything they talked about in terms of the entrance and the exit off of Gerber Road. And at first I was a little skeptical, but I walk my dog in my neighborhood every morning, and I walked over specifically to the areas that they were talking about and looked at it, realized it's 3 lanes wide there. You're going to have big turn lanes in and out of the school. We already have a significant amount of traffic that enters and exits the school today off of Gerber and does it successfully. Looking at the U46 plans, I saw that they've done a number of studies to show that traffic coming in and out of Gerber doesn't significantly impact traffic at Gerber and Schick, doesn't significantly impact traffic at Gerber and Army Trail. Gerber and Army Trail have a light already, which many of you probably know, being Bartlett residents like myself. So just on behalf of the association, I think we're vehemently opposed to this idea of putting that road through. As one of our members already talked about, there are a lot of small children who bought into our neighborhood because of its proximity to the school, the ability to have your kids walk to school. There's a lot of communities around there. Every morning when I'm walking the dog, before I travel into work, it's usually about school time. And the number of kids that walk to school, it's a pretty significant number. Putting a busy Fair Oaks road through there with no lights and no stop signs, the stop signs are for the crossing traffic based on the plans I saw, is going to create a very dangerous environment for the children that live in the community. So just wanted to go on record and voice our opposition to that, and hope that as you guys thoughtfully consider the correct direction for Bartlett's future growth, that you take that into consideration for us.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, thank you.
Defensive coordinator for my son.
Hey there, I'm Dana Wojnarowski. I really just also wanted just to lift up the partnership and just the reminder, and also just the between U46 and Bartlett so far up till this point, but even more specifically just incredibly grateful for the partnership of U46 and the community. As a member of the Hawk Hollow community, I know change is hard. My kids are, moving elementary schools this year, but couldn't be more grateful for what's to come, with all of the hard work that the architects and this team here has put into really just pulling the community together, getting their input, and helping them, even explaining to those that didn't understand the why between the why for the change when it comes to turning the change for Hawk Hollow. They've done an incredible job, and as a community member, I'm just really grateful for their work and just this change and what it can do for our community. I've already had numerous neighbors within my neighborhood that say, oh, my friend wants to move here now, because really that idea of where I'm at going to ECU just didn't make our area honestly appealing. And so there's a lot of benefit that brings, and just that sense of community to have a middle school where we just can gather and bring more together. So thank you for that.
May I get your address for the record?
2660 Sandpiper Trail.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the board at this time?
Jay Langfelder, 415 South Hickory in Bartlett, Illinois. Also, I was a 20-year resident at 1665 Penny Lane in Bartlett. Penny Lane is adjacent to the park, and it's the trail they cut across to get to Hawk Hollow. I lived there for 20 years. It is a safety concern because I live there, and they use the cul-de-sac where I live as a turnabout when they drop off and pick up children, and they use Penny Lane. And the issue there is, it is a safety concern on Penny Lane, and it has not been addressed here at the board at all. And that is one of my major concerns, because if you enlarge Hawk Hollow, which I'm not against, but it's the safety of those children that run between those cars on Penny Lane. And that's being overlooked. But the assets the village is giving up to U46, there has to be a compromise. Has to be a compromise. You're leaving out the incline on Schick and Gerber Road, because when you have buses and large vehicles go on Gerber Road heading south, cars have to back up to let them through. And that's a major concern. And Gerber Road is not going to be widened, not with the Forest Preserve onto the right. So there has to be a compromise of safety, because I have a concern because there's no lights at Gerber and Schick Road right there on the corner, and also Penny Lane. And I appreciate the consideration. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. Would anyone else like to address the board at this time? What do we got online up there? Is that Chris? Huh? John? Anybody on the hybrid that would like to address the board?
We do not.
Going once? Going twice? All right. Thank you all for your comments. Next up, we have, we're going to be adjourning to a committee of the whole meeting discussing this exact topic. And then we will be reconvening the board meeting to finish the board meeting, and then reconvening the adjourned committee meeting to finish the committee. So it's a fun night tonight. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the committee of the whole to the board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Committee of the whole meeting. Moved by trustee Daney, seconded by trustee Swansky. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Laporte? Yes. Swansky?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Gansey?
Yes.
Gunstein?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes. We are adjourned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Village of Bartlett Board meeting that we are reconvening now for July 18, 2023. I call the meeting back to order and ask the clerk to begin. Please call the roll.
Trustee Daney?
Here.
Gansey?
Here.
Gunstein?
Here.
Hopkins?
Here.
Laporte?
Here.
Swansky? Here. President Wallace?
Here. First item on our standing committee reports this evening is Building and Zoning Committee, Chairman Gunstein.
Thank you, Mr. President Wallace. Let me pull it up here. Moving pretty fast. Yeah. All right, President Wallace. School District U46 intends to convert Hawk Hollow Elementary School into a middle school. in order to build the addition of U-46, submitted a petition for a site plan review for the school expansion and amendment of future land use plan. To identify the property as institutional, rezone the property to the P1 Public Lands Zoning District, consolidate the existing vacant land family lots, and vacate the right-of-way at Fair Oaks, Jacaranda Drive, and Winston Lane. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the petition and conducted a required public hearing and recommended approval of the request at their June 1st, 2023 meeting. At the June 2023 Committee of the Whole, the concerns were raised about the request to vacate Fair Oaks Road right-of-way and traffic concerns at Gerber and Schick and Gerber and Army Trail intersections. After meeting with the staff, School District U46 agreed not to vacate Fair Oaks Road with the knowledge the bus stacking lane would be reduced if Fair Oaks Road is constructed at a later date. The school district also submitted an intergovernmental agreement agreeing regarding the traffic studies and potential future intersection improvements. The attached ordinance includes two conditions: plot of vacation, the plat of consolidation, and the plat of abrogation, or the utility easements must be reviewed to show that portion of Fair Oaks right-of-way that runs across the portion of the subject property referred to as Fair Oaks Collector remain as depicted public right-of-way, and such revised plans must be approved by the Planning and Development Services Director prior to recording. I believe we have an alternate plan to this that condition will be removed. Okay. The petitioner must enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the village in a form substantially similar to the attached Exhibit E regarding traffic studies of potential future intersection improvements at Gerber and West Army Trail Road and Gerber and East Schick. I move to approve Ordinance 2023-71, an ordinance approving amendment to the Village of Bartlett future land and rezoning a plot of consolidation, a plot of vacation, and a site plan for Hawk Hollow Middle School.
I'll second that.
But
we clarify that that's the revised version. And it would be the revised ordinance which would vacate the Fair Oaks right-of-way, which is drafted.
Fine.
So it's moved by Trustee Gunstein, seconded by Trustee Daney. Is there any additional discussion?
I think the plan proposed by U46 makes it safer. I think having two entrances and exits, and from Army Trail and Schick Road, emergency vehicles can get into. I like the plan. I liked it before, so.
I just want to make sure that everybody's safe and that 3 years from now, parents aren't coming here yelling at us because we didn't do something today. So I want to make sure that we do things today that will benefit everybody positively down the road.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Daney?
Yes.
Gansey?
Yes.
Gunstein?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
Swansky?
Yes.
A motion carries.
Thank you, President Wallace. We have an additional item on our committee. It's the Hawk Hollow Intergovernmental Agreement. Based on the Committee of the Whole discussion at the January 20th, 23 meeting, School District U46 has submitted an intergovernmental agreement to address the traffic concerns, safety concerns in proximity to Hawk Hollow School, primarily at the Gerber Road and Schick Road and Gerber and Army Trail intersection. The school district will collaborate with the village on the traffic study over the next 2 years and has agreed to cost-sharing agreement for the intersection improvements deemed necessary by the traffic study. Second.
I just made a motion, yes.
I move to approve Resolution 2023-72R, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Bartlett and the Board of Education, School District U46.
I'll second that, and I was ahead of myself because, again, I wanted to ask this question.
Well, hold on, wait till we're in discussion. Moved by Trustee Gunstein, seconded by Trustee Daney. Is there any discussion? There you go.
Yes, I do have some, and that's why I was jumped ahead of myself. I want an explanation again. I don't understand it, the next 2 years. How can we extend that? 5 years, 10 years, whatever the case may be. Somebody said something about 10 years before.
So that's just for the first study, and then there's provisions to conduct an additional study after the middle school is open. And then depending on that study, there might be a need for improvements, and that's what U46 is committed to do, depending on the outcomes of that potential additional study. So the whole term of the IGA is 10 years to allow for those two studies to be conducted and then potentially install those improvements.
Yeah, all right.
I think we did not receive a copy of the IGA. Is that correct?
I didn't see it.
I think the question is, so trustee Daney's point is, in that 10 years, is U46 still required to cost share?
Yes. Yes.
Throughout that 10-year agreement? Not just 24 months. 24 months is when we're going to do the traffic study. Right. And then we have an additional 8 years of cost sharing in this intergovernmental agreement.
Because as someone said earlier, I don't know who it was, we're looking at a traffic study right now, and what impact after the school is constructed, we have more students going. We just want to make sure that we have some protection in this.
We do.
Yeah, okay, pal.
The traffic study, is that over a one-year period? What's the time for, you're going to cover winter and spring and different seasons and what weather?
I'm correct. We're going to do a study soon to see what condition it is in right now. What's the baseline? Then we'll do a study when the school opens and see what's going on at that point.
Something in the winter to show snow and ice, and something in the spring with water.
Yep.
Okay, good. Excellent.
Any other discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Gansey?
Yes.
Gunstein?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Report?
Yes.
Swansky? Yes. Daney?
Yes.
That motion carries.
Thank you, President Wallace. Item 3, 4, and 5 were covered under consent. That's all we have to report tonight.
And I know some people have been considering U46 as compromising and coming to the table, and I just want to thank you for being so cordial and being patient with us. This is a big decision for us because of the larger school in this tight area, but we really appreciate you coming to the table with good faith and working with us, so thank you.
And I also, on behalf of School District U46, and of course on behalf of our Board of Education, want to thank you for the opportunity to collaborate. We are very excited about a new middle school in the village of Bartlett and in this portion of our school district, and we can't wait to welcome middle school students to a new middle school in the 25-26 year. So we very much appreciate your collaboration and look forward to the ongoing collaboration to make sure that, again, it's a safe learning environment for our students. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Superintendent.
But
next item we have is under Community and Economic Development Committee, Chairman Gansey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our one item was covered under consent tonight.
I don't get to say yummy poke.
You could say it.
Thank you, Chairman Gansey. Finance Committee, Chairman Laporte.
Nothing on the schedule for this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Laporte. License and Ordinance Committee, Chairman Hopkins.
Thank you, President Wallace. Item D1 and D2 were covered under the consent agenda tonight.
Thank you, Chairman Hopkins. Police and Health Committee, Chairman Swansky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item E1 was covered under the consent agenda this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Swansky. Public Works and Golf Committee, Chairman Daney.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first item we have on our agenda is F1. It's a resolution approving an engineering services agreement between the Village of Bartlett and Chaston and Associates, LLC, for Phase 1 and 2 engineering for Oak Avenue STP resurfacing project. And I would like staff to talk about this because we had a long discussion about this, and I was very impressed with the response, and that's the only reason that I didn't ask for it to be on the consent. So staff, if you'd please explain to you.
Thank you, Trustee Daney. So Oak Avenue from Lake Street down to Railroad, we are applying for STP funds, so a large portion of the funding would come from STP funding, which is very beneficial. If you remember, we are also applying or have applied for funding, STP funding on North Avenue. So we're trying to get these in line. Chastain did the engineering for North Avenue, so it made sense to have them jump on the Oak Avenue STP, and right now, North Avenue is scheduled for construction in 2025. We're not sure if we'll be able to get Oak on that same schedule. We're going to try as hard as we can so that we can kind of do those at the same time. But that's the benefit is two major roads in the in the downtown area. Try to get them and get as much STP funding as we can.
Does anyone have any questions for staff?
Do not.
If not, then, I move to approve Resolution 2023-73R, a resolution approving of an engineering service agreement between the Village of Bartlett and Christian and Associates LLC for Phase 1, 2, and 3 engineering for the Oak Avenue STP resurfacing project.
So, I'll second.
Moved by trustee Daney, seconded by trustee Swansky. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Benstein?
Yep.
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yo.
Laporte?
Yes.
Swansky? Yes. Daney?
Yes.
Gansey?
Yes.
That motion carries.
Give me 1 second now.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda is F2. It's a resolution approving of a change order number 4 to the contract between Joseph J. Henderson and Sons Incorporated and the Village of Bartlett for the Bittersweet Water Reclamation Facility improvements for a $263,909.77 increase in the original contract sum. And Dan, again, I'm going to ask you to explain what's happening here.
Sure. The main bulk of the change order is a time extension due to equipment delays on motor control centers and the generator. We've been working with J.J. Henderson to try to figure out ways to shorten the delays. What's happening, the project is kind of scheduled 2 phases. They can get through phase 1, but they kind of need the motor control centers in place before they could go to phase 2, which kind of, under the original plan, once those motor control centers, all the new buildings, the new equipment can then continue and progress. But because we're having to wait about a year to get the motor control centers, if we approve this change order and do temporary power, we're able to continue working on the buildings and the equipment, utilizing existing power we have to get those pieces of equipment ready to go, so that all you're waiting for then is to swap out the motor control center. You take the temporary power out, drop in the motor control centers, and then the equipment's already ready to go. So we're saving time by starting phase 2 before phase 1 is essentially complete. That saves us 150 days, and I think it's well worth it.
Because we can't complete phase 1 because we're waiting.
Because of the motor control centers. Yep.
Anyone else? All right. If not, then I move to approve Resolution 2023-74-R, a resolution approving of change order number 4 to the contract between Joseph J. Henderson and Sons and the Village of Bartlett for the Bittersweet Water Reclamation Facility improvements for a $263,909.77 increase in the original contract sum.
Second.
Moved by trustee Daney, seconded by trustee Swansky. Is there any additional discussion?
We did have a credit applied to this too originally, right? So what does that do to the overall cost?
Yeah, we're still actually at a credit.
At a credit.
So there's actually allowances that we had for the project, $200,000 actually, that, knock on wood, we haven't utilized yet, so we're hoping to be able to utilize, see the savings in that as well. But until the project's over, we won't know for sure, but we're on good track to save a lot from that.
Okay, that's good to hear. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Hopkins?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
Swansky?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Gansey?
Yes.
Gunstein?
Yes. That motion carries.
Okay, F3, F4, F5.
I think 3 we took off.
Yeah, no, we left, that was on consent. 3 was on consent.
Okay.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8
Trustee Swansky just wanted to talk about 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
was on consent. Yeah,
Yep,
that's correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you, Chairman.
F9.
Yep, gotcha.
Right.
Oh, F9.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Okay. One more.
We okay?
Yep.
Got it? Okay. A resolution awarding to Bartlett Hills Golf Club irrigation improvement bid to Commercial Immigration Incorporated, and, we beat this to death at the last
Wait,
meeting. I'm
we-
just going to
We
let
need to
staff.
we need to untable this first before we.
Yeah, we need a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, you know, you would give me these notes and I don't read them. I move to take, take off the table Resolution 2023-67R, resolution awarding the Bartlett Hills Golf Club irrigation improvement bid to Commercial Irrigation. I need a second, thank you.
Moved by trustee Daney, seconded by trustee Hopkins. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Laporte?
Yes.
Swansky?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Gansey?
Yes.
Gunstein?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Okay.
The motion carries and it's off the table.
Now that's off the table, well, F9 is a resolution awarding the Bartlett Hills Golf Club irrigation improvement bid to Commercial Irrigation Incorporated. And as I was saying before, we really talked a lot about this at our last meeting. So rather than go through all this, I'm going to have Matt from Bartlett Hills and Scott Strick, our Assistant Administrator, discuss this at length and answer any questions you may have.
I'd like to add one thing. If Dan could weigh in on this, and if we could look at this like a public works project, because I'm having a hard time getting my head around the number. I want the project to go through, but I'm having a hard time getting my head around the number. So if you could tell me this is a really good price for all the infrastructure that we're putting in, I could sleep better at night. It's just, I mean, compared to other public works projects, it's 108 acres that need to be irrigated. It's important, so I just need to justify it.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with irrigation systems by any
Sewers.
means, but
Sewers, pipes.
for the golf course. But from everything, I mean, I've been working with Scott and Matt on trying to figure this out ourselves, and from everything we've gathered from all the other bids that are out there, this is a good price. I don't see the price going down if we were to rebid everything that we've been told. So I think it's a good price. It's a lot, I get it, but right now we're seeing all kinds of crazy pricing right now, so it's hard to even predict numbers right now.
You guys go ahead.
I can start off here. So I can start off with explaining the hiring process for the consultants. The village solicited the few consultants in the industry that have done work in the area, which were EC Design, Mike Kuhn Irrigation, and Golf Waters. We did not reach out to Tony Altum, as their firm only does private golf courses in the area. Since 2007, in our area, these are the only companies that we are aware of that do work, so we awarded the bid to EC Design. EC Design has done over 400 projects across the country, including consulting work for some of the top-ranked golf courses in the country, including the newest Tiger Woods golf course in Texas. Staff still consulted with Fox Run Golf Club, Chicago Golf Club, as well as local contractors, and they all spoke very highly of EC Design. And upon further investigation, it was discovered that EC Design did work for Bartlett Hills in the early 2000s when they rebuilt holes 1, 3, 4, and 5. So since 2007, there have been 27 total consultants hired in our area. Tony Altum was awarded 6 of those jobs, all private golf courses. He does not enter the public sector. EC Design was awarded 18 of those projects, and Mike Kuhn was awarded 3 of those projects. Of those 27, 28 projects, 8 are public golf courses, and EC Design has done all the consulting work for those public golf courses. Any questions about the consulting?
Do you have anything to add?
I think he covered that pretty well. And in terms of the alternates, there was concerns that not having those alternates in there would diminish the system. I think those concerns are alleviated through the alternates because the backbone and the spinal cord will be there, and it'll allow staff to phase in those extra sprinkler heads over a period of time as needed. So I think it does 2 things. I think the fact that the backbone is there and the infrastructure is there, it allows savings on the budget side, and it allows a phasing in of the installation side. When the full installation is created, Matt can then evaluate which portions we really essentially need and which portions we don't. And certainly Matt can correct me if I'm wrong. And we can certainly elaborate on any of the questions that you have. I know Trustee Laporte asked questions about the sprinkler heads. The bid that we have is a base bid, and the $11.50 price is a price that needs to be identified per the alternates. And we can certainly elaborate on any questions you have.
Before we get into too much more discussion, let's get a motion and a second.
Sure. I moved to approve Resolution 2023-78.
65.
Right, 65, thank you. A resolution awarding the Bartlett Hills Golf Club irrigation improvement bid to Commercial Irrigation Incorporated.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Swansky. Does anybody have any discussion around this that we haven't already beat up?
In 5 years, when we have to put a new pump in, where are we going to get the money? Should we just do it now and be done with it?
With routine maintenance, we should have at least 4 to 6 years. And if something does happen to one of the pumps, there are 2 pumps. You do have a backup pump to help you out. So you can get at least 4 to 6 more years. So if you wait a little bit longer too, there's probably more qualified contractors. You're not just going from the small pool of 4. You can get people who install pumps to actually bid on it too.
So too, I mean, I hope the golf business is doing what it's doing right now. The trend is up. We're waiting for it to go down. It's not. However, in 4 to 6 years, you may see a dip in golf courses investing, because right now they're all investing. The consultants that we spoke to have projects being bidded out to 2025. So I do think, and I hope, that 6 years from now, after the golf boom, so to speak, that we're seeing at the moment, prices hopefully will come down. But I can't guarantee what the market's going to look like 5 or 6 years from now.
And then there's other improvements that need to be made in the clubhouse. Where's that money going to come from, and are we going to have any issues getting that? There's other improvements in the clubhouse. There's
what's the fund, municipal building fund?
That's the difference.
That is funded from development.
Developer deposits.
So of the overage that we were over the original estimated amount that we were discussing at the last meeting, with these alternatives, okay, we're knocking that down by $618,250 total. Is that correct? Is that how?
It's more. The original bid was $3,258,000, and with the alternates, it's down to $2,399,600.
It's almost $880,000.
So I want to thank you all so much for all the work you did on this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys are doing a lot.
Is there any other discussion or questions regarding the?
So when we do the phasing of things that we excluded from this bid, are you factoring in user fees to pay for those?
We had this discussion, I believe at the committee level several months ago, about rates. It was married to our GPS discussion, if you recall. We're up about, the proposal was $3 to $4 increase at the time of the committee discussion. We're seeing over $4 per head in terms of user fees. And quite frankly, what Matt's done out there, the more time that he'll have to manicure other areas on the course as opposed to maintaining the system that's currently 25 years old, that time will be utilized to improve the course. And I see us continuing our aggressive. I mean, we had a long time where we were pretty price sensitive for good reasons. However, the last few years, we've gotten more aggressive with our pricing. And his ability to work on other areas with a good irrigation system, I don't see that aggression slowing down anytime soon. So to answer your question, I do think a lot of that will come out of user fees, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I just want to ask the board, I mean, I'm looking at the alternates. Are we, or should we consider adding the 21 driving range sprinkler heads in at this point? And the only reason I'm asking is because we're going to see more traction in that driving range, and we want to see more traction there. We just came off of a pretty dry summer, which I think if it was not sprinkled right now, it would be hay. And I would like to know what the board's thought is on that.
The driving range The only thing that's just for the driving range field, and that's not irrigated right now, because all the heads are broken out there. So, for us, it's actually nice not having heads out there, but in the future, the backbone's gonna be there, the pipe's gonna be there on both sides of the driving range. So in the future, if we wanna do something on the range, we have the pipe there, we have the wires there. All we have to do is install 21 heads, which we can do in-house in the fall.
But this 22,500 is to install those heads that water the entire driving range, is that correct?
It's just the driving range field, the driving range tee box, where everyone hits their shots from, the 2 putting greens, the back putting green by Old 10, that will all have irrigation water.
Okay, 'cause I know I brought it up about reconnecting the existing stuff to the new system and then slowly changing it out. I'm just asking if we're better off including that now.
If Matt doesn't think it's necessary right now, I don't think we need to.
And I think the nature of our driving range is a little different than some of your locale driving ranges. For example, Green Valley, our driving range prerogative is to capture people that are there. It's not as much of a destination, but we are striving to do that. As example, family night the other day, so we are trying to get more people exposure to the driving range. But the driving range condition itself, yellowing, I think the customers aren't too concerned about that. They look at more of a warm-up session. And as Matt said, the tee boxes are what's critical for the driving range.
How was this? Did we make money on the family night? Was it a good event? Is it worth doing once a month?
The number that I heard on that was 90, right? 93 people. It was a very different event than what we see at Bartlett Hills. And hand it over to Evan and Laura and Polly and Dustin, and they moved a lot of stuff out onto the course. They were grilling on the course. They had food trucks. They had music. They made it a party, and families really responded to the program. So much so that Phil was telling me that we had a lot of non-Bartlett families coming and checking out the course, and so I think it was successful in all those aspects that we wanted it to do. The overhead on that was pretty low, so but we also didn't charge much for it. I think it will be an event that we will carry on in coming seasons.
Any other comments, questions, issues? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Swansky?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Gansey?
Yes.
Gunstein?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
That motion carries.
Thank you all very much. I've been so much anticipating the GPS over at Bartlett Hills, and now the irrigation system. I'm a happy camper. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman Daney. Any new business anyone would like to discuss? Question?
I had a question. Industrial sewer rate, is that the same as the residential sewer rate?
Yeah, we have the same sewer rate for residential industrial this time. Yeah, Dan and I, we've been working, trying out different scenarios as far as the water rates, and fixed as opposed to variable costs. So we anticipate bringing some kind of proposals or suggestions or options.
I was looking at I think it was the annual report, and I think Rana Pasta comes to mind. They discharge 86,000 gallons a day. And so I just want to make sure that they're paying their fair share. That's 10 times more than what a residence is doing, what a residential home does in a month, and they're doing that in a day. And I just saw in one of the items under consent that we're going to be doing, Rana's going to be doing an additional plat, building, sewer, all that kind of stuff. I just want to make sure that they're getting charged for what they're using appropriately.
Right. And as far as industrial, they also have a pretreatment permit.
Yeah, they have pretreatment.
So they're paying surcharges for some of the wastewater that they're actually sending to us, and that's been pretty significant.
They got like $1 million pretreatment thing.
Okay, perfect.
Plus. But yeah, it's a good point.
That's all I got.
Anything else? New business? Going once? Going twice? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Daney, seconded by trustee Laporte. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Daney?
Yes.
Gansey?
Yes.
Gunstein?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
Swansky?
Yes.
We are adjourned.